Good evening. My name is Kelly McRaven, and I am the East Regional Director on the Notre Dame Alumni Association Board, and it is my pleasure to be with you here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed guests, we are gathered to celebrate another exceptional individual whose dedication to the well-being of children has left an indelible mark on countless lives. It is with great honor I introduce Dr. Megan Collins, class of 98 and 99, as the recipient of the prestigious William D. Reynolds Award from the University of Notre Dame Alumni Association. Dr. Collins' journey of service and compassion began with a simple yet a profound commitment to improve eye health and therefore the quality of life of children everywhere. But before we begin, just by a show of hands here, how many of us in the room wear glasses or contact lens? Whoa, okay. Now, by a show of hands, how many people were diagnosed with this in school, while in school? Okay, we went down a little bit there. But full disclosure, I am a data scientist by trade, so I like to back up any anecdote with real data. So as of 2019, the National Institutes of Health came out with a study that said 25% of school-aged children wear glasses or contact lenses. Now imagine the repercussions of not having access to the glasses that you need. Aside from the strain, and of course the discomfort that you might experience, untreated vision problems during childhood can cause significant academic challenges, developmental delays, and can cause permanent vision impairment. As a pediatric ophthalmologist and associate professor of ophthalmology at Johns Hopkins, Dr. Collins' journey has been one of unwavering dedication and relentless pursuit of excellence in her field. Her academic achievements include completing medical school and residency at the University of Chicago, followed by a fellowship at the University of Toronto, and a master's in public health from Johns Hopkins. The last 25 years of this incredible work reflect her commitment to the mastery of her field. But just to give some context to what this mastery looked like, as I was preparing for this speech today, I was given her CV. It was 32 pages. 32 pages of everything, but not limited to her publications, her clinical activities, and her research. But it's not merely her academic accolades that define Megan's legacy. It is her tireless advocacy and groundbreaking work in addressing the barriers to access in pediatric eye care that truly set her apart. Recognizing the profound impact that clear vision can have on a child's educational journey, Megan pioneered the Vision for Baltimore program, the largest citywide school-based vision program in the United States. Through her leadership with Vision for Baltimore program, Megan has ensured that 15,000 students in the Baltimore City public school system has received the vital eye care that they need for free. From vision screenings to eyeglasses, no child is left behind due to vision-related challenges. Moreover, Dr. Collins' groundbreaking research has not only validated the efficacy of the school-based model, but has also underscored the transformative power of eyeglasses on academic achievement. Her findings have served as a catalyst for change, inspiring similar programs in major school districts across the nation. While I was talking to Dr. Collins just now, I also found out that on top of all of this, she graduated from high school at age 16, and that's truly when her academic journey started. In Dr. Collins, we find a true advocate for children, a visionary whose compassion knows no bounds, and a champion whose dedication has illuminated countless futures. Today, as we honor her with the William D. Reynolds Award, let us not only celebrate her achievements, but also recommit ourselves to the cause of ensuring every child has the opportunity to thrive. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Megan Collins on her remarkable contributions to the betterment of children's lives in Baltimore, in the Baltimore area, and beyond.
Thank you. That was incredibly, incredibly humbling. I don't like talking about myself. I told my sister I just like to do the work and keep my head down. So it is really an honor to be with all of you here tonight. I want to thank the board members and staff of the Notre Dame Alumni Association for this incredible award and the opportunity to be here with all of you this evening. Being back at Notre Dame is such a treat for me, and this recognition is a highlight of my career. I will say from a medical perspective, I think my blood pressure dropped like 20 points when I get on the campus. There's just some peace about being at this place. But I'm going to start with a little bit of bad news. You ready? I'm getting old. I came to this conclusion yesterday when I was wandering around campus thinking, I'm just like one of the students, and I almost got run over by this little robot. Has anybody seen this robot that delivers food? And I thought, when I was a student, we walked uphill both ways in the snow, through the hailstorms, through the gale force winds, to the huddle to get our quarter or 25-cent hot dogs, which, by the way, are no longer available, probably because some cardiothoracic surgeon discovered the not cardiac benefits of that. But so I'm getting old. In all seriousness, with age, I think, comes a little bit of wisdom. And as I've gotten older, I have realized even more and more the value of being present in each other's lives. Everything always seems to move so fast. I think we know that in our lives these days, and we don't have the time to reflect or thank those who are here for us, which is why tonight I really want to acknowledge my family. I'm going to try not to cry during this, by the way, for showing up tonight. They've traveled by plane, by car, they've missed work. One circumstance, somebody even had to take an exam at school the 7 a.m. the morning before they left for the plane so she could get here. So that's my niece. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to all of you at these two tables here for spending the evening with me and for showing up. Among us here, we have 7 Notre Dame alum. I think I'm counting right, hopefully, including my brother and my sister, my uncle, my brother-in-law, and my niece, who graduated 2 years ago. We have 1 current Notre Dame student, one of my other nieces, and 3 additional prospects sitting in the front and the middle table there. We also have my wonderful aunt and my 2 good friends, Joe and Beth, also Notre Dame alum. I think between these 2 tables, we may have bought a dorm or something. I'm not sure. A lot of Notre Dame pride, obviously. And I want to do a huge shout out to my mom and my sister-in-law, who is a St. Mary's alum, who are joining us remotely tonight. My mom's been ill and wasn't able to come join us this evening. And thank you to Amanda from Alumni Relations and the association to help get my mom here remotely, and my sister-in-law for generously offering to stay with her. Mom and Ann, we really miss you guys. I was asked to share a little bit about my background and my work. I'm a pediatric ophthalmologist, bioethicist, and public health researcher at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, Maryland. Growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor. I'm happy that Kathleen and Ryan, did not tell any stories about me, but I did used to dissect my food as a kid. I don't know why. I think it's weird now, but I did. But we had 2 really close family friends, Father Brzett and Father Spruill. They were Jesuit priests in our local community and good friends of the family. And as they got older, they both became ill, one with ALS and one with pancreatic cancer. And I would go visit them all the time. And it was there, being present with them, that I thought, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to be at the bedside of a patient. And I felt helpless at that point in time, honestly, because there was not much more that I could do other than listen and talk. And I wanted to acquire the medical skills over time to hopefully be transformative in medicine. At Notre Dame, I was pre-med and desperate to get some clinical skills. So with 2 of my now still close friends who are also physicians, we started the Memorial Hospital Medical Explorers program. This was And this is back in the 90s. We didn't have a volunteer program in the community, so we set up this program so we could go to the local emergency room. I was so excited on my first day. Patient was getting stitches. I was holding their hand, and lo and behold, I almost pass out because it is not lost on me the irony of which I've become a surgeon, but maybe I toughened up after that first experience. It was ironically, though, at my older sister's urging, Kathleen, who thinks I never listened to her, that I took a course in medical ethics, and that opened up an entirely new world for me. I became so fascinated by how we could use philosophical and moral justice frameworks to think about contemporary issues in medicine. That led me to actually become a research assistant for one of the philosophy professors who had taught the course, David Solomon, and I worked with him for the next several years, which actually led me to meet my then future boss and mentor at University of Chicago, Mark Siegler, who's largely considered the father of the field of clinical medical ethics. And coincidentally, also how I met my brother-in-law and introduced him to my sister was because my brother-in-law, who's a physician, came to the annual medical ethics conference. So as you can see, Notre Dame has wound itself through my life. 10 years ago, I joined the faculty at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine's Wilmer Eye Institute. This is where I practice as a pediatric ophthalmologist. People often ask why I choose to work with kids. They're so wiggly. How do you get them to sit still in the chair? That is entirely true. But when I answer, I thought back to a philosophy course I took at Notre Dame. I read a book by G.K. Chesterton called Orthodoxy. And I probably will not get this quote quite right, but he was talking about fairy tales and telling fairy tales and telling stories to children. And you have a dragon or a fairy or a princess behind a door. And he said for kids, they're just excited that there's a door and it opens. They don't need the dragon. They don't need the princess. Sometimes it's the adults who actually need that extra sensationalism, but the kids are just excited. And that really, encapsulates why I love working with kids. I love the wonder. I love the awe. I love the energy. They always sort of inspire me and give me hope. At the same time of working with kids, I've also become acutely aware of disparities that exist, and that was already mentioned a little bit earlier tonight, especially in low-income, rural, and urban communities and among racial and ethnic minorities. The simple truth is that we have many children in the United States going without food, without housing, without educational resources, healthcare, or even eyeglasses. And the eyeglasses that they would need to see that magic door and whatever's behind it. So when I first came to Hopkins, I led what's called the Baltimore Reading and Eye Disease Study, which was a project that looked at the connection between reading, learning to read, and vision. And it turns out that if you're not reading at grade level by the end of third grade, it has significant impacts developmentally on your ability to graduate from high school, your future job attainment, your quality of life. So seeing so many children at risk was an eye-opener for me. And this work where I actually went into schools and did the eye exams on 200 plus children in second and third grade across many schools in Baltimore City really made me change the direction of my career. I came to recognize that there was such a significant unmet need for eye care in my local community. And I recognized that there was additional value for me as a physician, not only in my clinical setting or in the operating room where I was treating one patient at a time, but also at a population health level, where I could help develop systems to deliver eye care to a large number of children in need of eyeglasses. And you already heard some of these facts because we have a data analyst among us, data scientists, but 1 in 4 children need glasses to see clearly in the classroom. And the reality is in high poverty areas such as Baltimore, as little as 1 in 20 actually have the glasses that they need. And there are so many barriers to them getting those glasses outside of the school setting. So my work has really focused on developing a model that can provide that eye care in the schools. We provide the glasses to the students in need, and it has a measurable impact on their ability to see and engage in the classroom. And that increased classroom engagement equates to improved academic outcomes. Our Vision for Baltimore program, which is a citywide program I helped to establish in 2016, serves all 150 elementary and middle schools across the city. We provide vision screenings, eye exams, and eyeglasses to all of the students directly in their schools. Over the past 8 years, we've now now been able to serve over 100,000 students. We've provided over 20,000 eye exams and eyeglasses to students who needed them. And this has formed the basis of which is now regarded the national model for how we should develop school-based vision programs, and has led me to be involved in work now across 25 states that are trying to incorporate similar programs in high poverty districts across their state. I've also had the opportunity to use this work to advocate both in the state of Maryland and nationally for better vision screening and better pediatric eye health policy. Globally, I just started working with the World Health Organization. They have an initiative called Global Specs 2030. The goal is to make sure every adult and child in the world who needs glasses has access to them. So my work is helping to inform that mission as well. It's truly gratifying. My friend Beth said I should tell a story about a patient in here. And one of the things that I've loved is when you see a child put on glasses for the first time. And, you know, if I took my glasses off, all of you would be a giant blur to me. But when you see a kid, you know, kids are so hopeful and filled with wonder, and all of a sudden they put glasses on and they're like, wow, trees have leaves, and all of these things, it really opens up a whole new world to them. And I'm just privileged to be part of that. I want to turn back to talking about Notre Dame and my Notre Dame family. I really believe that the skills I've acquired in becoming a physician, both clinically and as a public health researcher, have been foundationally influenced by my time at Notre Dame and its embodiment of faith in action. In preparing these remarks tonight, I came across a quote from Father Jenkins that I think so encapsulates why I'm proud to be a Notre Dame alum. And he wrote, "The world needs a university that graduates men and women who are not only capable and knowledgeable, but who accept their responsibility to serve others, especially those in greatest need." It's been more than 25 years since I graduated. Again, more data about how old I am. But I'm constantly reminded of the closeness of the Notre Dame community. Earlier today, I got stuck in the horrible rainstorm without an umbrella, and I went into the new DeBartolo Theater of Arts Theater, and I saw somebody wearing a T-shirt that said, "We are ND," and I loved seeing that phrase. I think it encompasses a community of faith and love that extends beyond boundaries of time and space. That whole concept of "We are ND." No matter where I go in life, my Notre Dame family is always there. This past year and a half, it's been a tough tough time for our family. But sorry. When my dad was hospitalized with a spinal cord injury, the first person I called was one of my friends from Notre Dame, who happens to be a very knowledgeable orthopedic surgeon who introduced me to all of the fascinating aspects of neurosurgery. When my mom was hospitalized this past November, the first person I called was another Notre Dame alum who happens to be a very famous physician at Washington University, St. Louis, and knew everything about her disease and how to navigate it. And it struck me how much Notre Dame continues to be part of my life decades later. And of course, I have both Joe and Beth, who I've called on countless times for various challenges over the years, and I thank you for that. I want to thank my family who are here today, some of them, not all of them, unfortunately. It's because of you that I'm part of the Notre Dame community. I'm the youngest of three. I desperately wanted to be as smart and cool as my brother and sister. Ryan and Kathleen, thank you for being such wonderful role models for me. You're incredible individuals, incredible parents, and I'm always inspired by what you've done to change the world in your career and with your families. This also seems a good opportunity to formally and publicly forgive you for the time that you tied me to a tree in the woods and left me. True story, everybody. True story. Just pause for a minute. My mom and dad wanted me and my brother and sister to go to Notre Dame so much for college. My mom, at the time, it wasn't even co-ed, so she wasn't able to go. But she was always so proud of the three of us for coming here. And I remember, summers at Notre Dame, I loved to stay around, and I think I was a dorm or a residence hall manager, and my mom would say, well, I'll come out and visit. And my mom would spend half the summer here staying at the Morris Inn, where I think she knew absolutely everybody. But I would see her around campus because she loved to walk all day, and she would walk around and she'd kind of go from bench to bench, and my friends would be like, I just saw your mother on a bench. So, Mom, I know that you are not here with us today, but please know that I have been, since yesterday, going around and sitting on all the benches on campus. There are many more now. My mom and dad, in addition to instilling my love of Notre Dame, instilled my devotion to the Blessed Mother. My dad even carried his rosary with him throughout his time in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. In honor of them, I went to the grotto yesterday to say a prayer for all of my family and for some courage, as I was very nervous about giving this speech tonight. When I visited the grotto, it's funny because you just mentioned this in your remarks. I always love to stop by the statue of Dr. Dooley, and to reread his letter to Father Hesburgh. And there's one particular line in there that always resonates for me. He writes, so Father Hesburgh, Notre Dame is twice on my mind and always in my heart. The grotto is the rock to which my life is anchored. I too feel like Notre Dame is always on my mind and in my heart, and I'm grateful to be part of this wonderful place, and I thank you again for this incredible award.